Hi, I'm Milenia, your host of the podcast Radiant Living. I want to welcome you to a space where you will find conversations of testimonials of growth, inspirational stories that have helped me, and other stories that will sprinkle laughter, spice, and tears. This is a space where you will find tools that can help you navigate your wellness journey. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Radiant Living with Elenia. I'm very thrilled to be here with my special guest, one that I've been longing for, that I've been asking for, and finally she's here. Welcome, Inga.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
joining Radiant Living. This is a great opportunity to get to know you better, to share your story. And for me personally, you're a dear friend. You're my yogi student. She comes to the studio, to the yoga studio, and we practice together. And it's such a thrill to have you here.
Oh, thank
How are
you.
you today?
Really well. Thanks. Excited to be here.
Excited to be here. So, Inga, tell us something. How did you get here to Geneva? We're all here in this expat life. How did you arrive to the city?
Oh, I'm just the tag along wife. My husband moved us here for his job. He was relocated here 5.5 years ago. And yeah, I've been here ever since, loving it.
Loving it.
Yeah.
You're coming from Dubai.
Yeah.
That was the last.
That was the last stop on the journey. Yeah, we were in Dubai for a number of years. In total, I think it was about 13 years, but we did 4 years in Doha, Qatar,
Wow.
where our kids were born. But then after that, we moved back to Dubai for the last 4 years before moving here.
Inga is a loving mom.
Very much so.
I love your kids. They're so cute.
Thank you. They're my best.
And you're originally from
Holland.
Holland.
Holland, yeah.
Yeah, but you've lived in South Africa.
South Africa,
You've
Saudi
lived
Arabia, Australia, Canada,
Canada,
UK.
UK. You've been
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah, I've been a proper nomadic. Yeah, don't
How,
have any roots, just floating through this world and having fun doing it.
well, you have such a rich
Hmm.
background, like living in all these countries.
Yeah, it's been quite eye-opening and I love it. Some parts of it I find, there were questions when I was in my 20s, I would say, when I started. Well, I was already kind of on that journey because we moved around as kids as well.
Mhm.
But I kind of felt that I had no roots. And then I just realized that actually it's not that important to have roots. I think it's more important to find what you're looking for in other ways. A country or a nationality doesn't define who you are. It's what's inside your heart, really. I know it's cliched, but it's true. Yeah, it
Right?
builds strength. I think it builds character and it opens a lot of doors. It makes you able to just go anywhere and enjoy what's there.
Was it like life hard to adapt when you were here in Geneva, when you got here? Was it different from what you have previously seen or?
Obviously, the language was a bit of a challenge because I didn't speak any French before we got here, and still not that great at it. I've had to learn. My kids were thrown in the deep end. Having to speak French at school, so we had to also kind of get used to that and yeah, figure out the school systems and things like that, all in French. Initially, we didn't really know anyone, so it was difficult. But it's nothing like a challenge to get you motivated to do something. So I did start to learn French. We have had to find ways to connect with people, but actually, I found there was a lot of expats here and a
Yes.
lot of English-speaking expats, so that was easy.
That was easy, right?
Yeah,
Actually, that's how I met you through a friend,
yeah,
Tasha, who is a connector.
yes,
She introduced us,
yeah,
and yeah, it is easy when you speak English.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Absolutely, it's a huge connector, but yeah. So it's been an interesting journey for me personally. There's been a lot of things that have been thrown my way in the last few years since we've been here. So if you say, "Are you loving Geneva?" I don't think Geneva is to blame for some of the stuff that's happened to me. But yeah, there has been a few difficult things that have been on my path. But overall, life is good, and we're very happy to be here. And partially also, I think the reason I'm here is because of Geneva and the healthcare and things like that. But I think that's the next questions you're getting to later in the story.
Yes, we'll get to that. But when you were living in all these countries as you were growing up, like who was inspiring to you? Who were your biggest influences
Well, I think
growing
because we
up?
moved around a lot, my family was, a key anchor for me. My mom and dad. I'm very lucky to have parents that were incredible, very brave. I think they were risk takers. Obviously, we moved around a lot, but yeah, and I think that shaped them to some degree as well. My mom is a very strong character. She knows who she is. She doesn't give up. She fights hard, and she's always very stylish whilst doing it. She's
Like
my
you,
glamour
that's how
inspiration.
you got it.
I don't know. She's next level. And yeah, my dad was unfortunately he passed away last year, but he was a very creative person. Didn't really believe in rules, just liked to live life his own way, and that was also quite inspiring for me to just live freely and don't always be so held back by what's expected and what people think of you and things like that. He just didn't care. He just took chances, lived his life the way he wanted to, and that was really a gift, to grow up with someone like that around.
Of course, it's
Yeah,
a big role model
yeah,
for you.
absolutely, absolutely,
Your
yeah,
parents
yeah.
always rooting for you.
And my sister and my brother, who are, they're very different to me. We're all three extremely different personalities, and we challenge each other in good and bad ways. But yeah, we've got an incredible support, and I think partly because we moved around a lot. That's your first the base, the foundation. You can't do it alone.
No,
So family becomes very important when you're in a new place, settling in and things like that. But I'm also very lucky to have a really good group of friends around me. I met some amazing women that are still very much a key part of my life during my last high school years, my last 3 years of high school. And yeah, we're just a really tight-knit group of amazing women that just are my everything, my support, my
your
everything.
support. So you have
Yeah.
friends all over the
Yeah,
world.
I
It's like,
do.
hey,
Yeah.
let's meet up in
Exactly.
London. Let's,
Exactly. Well, that's
I'll
exactly what's
see.
happening this summer.
Oh, okay,
Traveling
cool.
around, going to see different friends from different walks of life, different countries that I've lived in. That's been great. It particularly suits my lifestyle. So yeah, so staying connected is really important to me.
So having all these rich experiences in your life, moving around, meeting a lot of people in different stages of your life, and now being here, do you feel like there was a turning point in your life coming to Geneva?
Yes, there's been a few. My
There's
life
been a
keeps
few.
turning, but yeah, again, I think that we're always growing, we're always changing. Like life is like that. Life is constantly changing and evolving. But yeah, there was a few curveballs that were thrown our way in the early stages of our time in Geneva.
Would you like to share
Sure.
one of them?
Yes, I think the major thing that really has defined me in the last few years has been my journey with cancer. I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer just under a year after getting to Geneva. It was during COVID, so it was a particularly difficult time already. My husband was traveling; he was away at the time, and I'd had a lump on my shoulder, which I had looked at, told to come back 3 months later. We had another look at it with an MRI, a second ultrasound. And then from there, they sent me to the oncology department at the local university hospital here, HUG.
Hmm.
And then I was sent for a PET scan. And at that stage, I was still pretty chilled about it all. I was like, yeah, it's probably nothing because I felt fine. I was hiking the day before the PET scan. And
I
then,
remember, let me stop you. You were in one of my classes, like and you told me like, oh, I'll be careful with some movements
yeah,
because I feel something.
yeah, there was a lump on my shoulder that I was a little worried about, but
Yeah.
everyone gets bits and pieces sometimes, and I felt very fine, so I didn't
Mhm.
really think it was a big deal. And even the GP that I'd seen for the initial look at that lump, she was quite laid back about it. But after the second ultrasound, they said no, we need to go and look at it more clearly, and they sent me for a PET scan. My husband was locked in a hotel room at that stage in quarantine because he tested positive for COVID when he was on a business trip. So he
Far
wasn't
away.
here. Yeah, he was in
Oh,
Doha. So he got locked up just the day before my PET scan, which was not ideal timing. And then I got a call. So I did the PET scan on the Monday morning. On the Sunday, I was hiking with the kids. So I was really, fine. I was a little tired, but otherwise fine. Did the PET scan on the Monday. Then I got a call the same evening or the late afternoon from the oncology department saying that they wanted to see me urgently the next day, which was a pretty nerve-wracking call to get. But I was still quite like, oh, well, it's nothing. I feel fine. I don't have cancer, surely. And went in quite positive the following day, walked into the oncologist's office, and she said, I'm really sorry. This is just the worst thing to tell you, but you've got stage 4 cancer. And I was like, what? This is just, I'm sure you've got the wrong paperwork in front of you. This isn't me. Look at me. I'm fine. I feel great. There's nothing going on with me. So it was a difficult conversation to have. And I think my first instinct was like, this isn't happening to me. This is not going to take me. I'm not giving up. We've got to fix this. And I just looked at her and I was like, what are we going to do? Are you telling me I'm dying? What is going on here? And she said, do you feel like you're dying? And I was like, no, of course not. I'm absolutely fine. And she said to me, and I think those words were so important to me, because even though she was sort of saying that it was really advanced, I had tumors everywhere, and there was some things that we could try and do, but she didn't give it, a lot of hope. She said to me, do you feel like you're dying? And I said, no, I don't feel like I'm dying. Of course not. And she said, great, let's keep it that way. And the fact that she said that, I was like, I'm sure it was just a flippant comment for her, but I was like, I'm holding on to those words. She said we can do it and we can keep it that way. I'm going to do it. And it's amazing how a little thing like that can have a huge impact for me, because, I think she was kind of trying to tell me that there wasn't a lot of hope, and that, it was about prolonging my life and making me as comfortable as possible during this time. But I just took those words and I was like, I'm running with that. I'm going to hold on, and we're gonna fix this. Obviously thinking immediately about, I have young kids.
Yes, yes.
This is not a good time to die. I'm not ready.
No, no,
So
no. And I think that that moment it must have been really a turning point. It's
yeah,
like it's everything that's either all in or just to
yeah,
give up.
yeah,
And that's the most admiring thing from you, is like you're so resilient, you go through, you fight, you're a fighter.
yeah. I don't like
You
being
do.
told what to do. So
You know. Yes.
yeah. So I think that's key. We're in control of our own lives. You don't let someone else dictate when you're going to live and how you're going to live and when you're going to die.
But
That's
that affected you emotionally, and what steps you took next?
Yeah, of course it affected me emotionally. It was a big shock. I remember sitting in the car after that appointment. I had to go for a biopsy straight away because I needed to figure out what kind of cancer it was. And then I remember walking out of the hospital. I was by myself. My husband was, in Doha
Yes.
in quarantine. I remember calling him, sitting in the car, not even being able to drive, like shaking, crying, going, "Oh my God, I've got stage 4 cancer. This is just surreal. This can't be happening." Um, but and he was obviously terrified. I don't know how I managed to tell my parents. I have vague recollections of that phone call going, I just don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this other than I have stage 4 cancer, and there's not a lot that they can do. They are going to put me on treatment, but it's not looking great.
And what about your kids? Did you tell them at
So I
some
didn't tell them the
point?
first few days because it was too traumatic and I needed to get my head around it myself. And also, again, I didn't want to be too pessimistic about it because I felt like it was, that's just not my approach. I wanted to just figure out how we're going to fix it rather than going, oh, well, woe is me. So I tried to hold off on telling them until Gerhard, my husband, got back. But then we had this amazing support system that just evolved around me with all these wonderful people, including yourself and Tasha, obviously, and some of the other people that too many to mention around, and around us here. Um, That's actually, I didn't really know very well at that stage because we'd only been here a few months and it had been COVID, so we weren't allowed to socialize. And so there were some, moms that met at the school gate and everything, but everyone just rallied around me, and the word spread very quickly, and people were just turning up with food for the family and amazing things, including some superfood powders and things that I actually had really embraced and made a part of my life going forward. So yeah, just amazing support just from people around us, and obviously the kids picked up on that. They were 7 and 9 at that stage, and they were kind of like, what's going on? All these friends and people turning up with flowers and gifts and food and things. What's going on? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. That's fine. They did know that I'd had some doctor's appointments as well, but I think they were a little bit young to put two and two together at that stage. But at some stage they did start asking questions, and I felt we had to say something. And I told them that the lump that I had on my shoulder, which they did know about, was actually a tumor. My son is the elder one. He immediately went, "Oh, Mama, you've got cancer!" And he's quite a science kid, and he loves watching documentaries and things. So he knew a little bit about that kind of stuff. And so yeah, he immediately said, "If you've got cancer, are you going to die?" So that was a tough question to deal with from a 9-year-old. And then the 7-year-old, she's got a real sweetheart, heart of gold as well. And she thought I was going to lose all my hair because she knew a kid that had chemo and lost their hair, so she offered to give me her hair, which was just also heartbreaking from a little 7-year-old. It's
So
just, yeah, those are not nice conversations to have with your kids, to be honest. But they were amazing. And I think, I tried to just stay positive, and I didn't say, oh, everything's terrible and we're going to die. We're on a journey now. A new chapter has started and we have to fix it. That was kind of what I tried to, live my life by.
in these moments of uncertainty, there did you feel like this is just like too much,
There
or
were moments where it
like
was really difficult, of course, yeah. And I remember, in front of the kids, you try to keep a brave face and you try to stay positive and optimistic. My parents came to visit straight, basically they had to get COVID passes and things like that. They came and traveled in from France. They were in France at that time, and they came over as soon as they could, a couple of days later, and it's just hard conversations to have, and hard to kind of. I remember my dad going on a walk with me and saying, "How do you feel about dying?" Like it's like just surreal. And it's one thing to have a flippant comment like that when everyone's fine and well, but it's different when you really are facing death. You really are like, okay, well, I have probably months if we're lucky to live. Um, it's a weird conversation to have with your dad. It's the wrong way around, really.
yeah.
And he felt that, and my mom, felt that, and they went into I mean, they've always been incredibly supportive of everything we've done. But this is a different level, it's a different, and it's wrong. It's the wrong way around. You shouldn't be burying your children. It's a tough thing to face.
But when you were the most vulnerable, was there something that kept you going? Was your inner strength, was something that you built, or was it the community,
I think
or
there was a few factors. I've always felt like I couldn't have done this alone. There was incredible support around me from my friends, from my family, from my husband, obviously, my kids. My kids were the driving force for me, I think. I mean, they did support, obviously, but I think support from little children is a different kind of thing. But they were the drive, they were the force behind it. I had to be here for them. I wasn't ready to leave them. So that was for me the reason for being, the reason for continuing and fighting. And my husband was just by my side all the time. My parents were by my side, my brother, my sister, my friends from all around the world just rallied. I never kind of kept it as a secret. I mean, I didn't sort of splatter it all over social media, but I did tell all the people that I regularly talked to, and my friends and people, particularly people around here as well, because it did affect my daily life. I had to ask for help. I was in appointments and treatments and things all the time, especially in the first few months. It affected my daily living and life and ability to do things. My husband has a job, so it was,
but you
I had to lean
still
on.
went to the school to the pickup time and get your
Yeah, as much as possible, as much as possible. I
you
wanted to
always showed
continue.
up for your kids. I think that's admirable. With all you were going through, you were always present in the life of your kids,
Yeah.
and you were trying to manage. You did manage everything. going
I did as
through.
much as I could, but I wasn't alone. It wasn't alone. I did lean on people a lot, and there were a lot of amazing people that really stepped up. And as I said, a lot of them were almost strangers. There were people I didn't know very well. I'd been here a few months, but that was incredible. That was really beautiful, and it was a big eye opener for me. I'd always been blessed with amazing friends around me that I've known all my life, or been connected with for a long time. But meeting people that I hardly knew, and they just held me like a net around me, just kept it together for me. So I didn't do it alone. Yeah, I mean, I think there is something, and maybe it's me, or maybe it's, I don't know. I was just really lucky to have amazing, amazing support all around. And I think maybe allowing that in was one of the key takeaways, and one of the things that I really learned from this experience. Just you don't have to go through these things alone, and it's important that you don't.
But it definitely made you stronger. You were always resilient,
Mm,
even with the chaos, let's say,
yeah.
happening and the waves of emotions. Did you practice something like in your wellness journey, in your way to recover?
Yeah, I did a lot. Like obviously I went on to treatment straight away for the actual cancer. And that was grueling. It was difficult and hard. But to support that, I did a lot of things for myself. I did a lot of research. I spent evenings after the kids had gone to bed looking on, not like, oh, I'm going to die, or how long do I have left, rather, but like, how are we going to fix this? I want to find the success stories. I want to look for the people that have, made it through these things. And so that was the first thing. I had a lot of people also calling me saying, "Oh, you should try this, you should try that," and I did. I tried everything. I did everything, and I
What
still
did you
do
do?
everything.
Acupuncture?
Acupuncture every week. So I see a Chinese acupuncture, actually two Chinese well, Chinese medicine practitioners, and they do acupuncture. I see an Ayurvedic doctor regularly. I do breath work. I do yoga with this wonderful lady. And I do lots of walks in nature. I try to really connect with forests, with trees, with things like that. I started seeing, when I was first diagnosed, somebody recommended a magnetiseur, which I'm not sure how that translates into English, but I think it's like energy healing.
Energy
It's
healing.
not quite the same as Reiki, but it's along those lines, I think. I was a little skeptical about things like that at first, but to be honest, I've had some incredible experiences there as well. So a big believer now. Yeah, I really try to connect with my spiritual side, with my mental health as well. Obviously, it's a very challenging time to go through something like that. And actually, after 6 months of being on immunotherapy, it got worse because I was diagnosed. I had a mixed response, and some things got better and some things escalated a little, and it went into my spinal fluid. It's something called leptomeningeal disease, which I think I'm one of the very few survivors of in the world. It doesn't seem to be a lot of chance of getting through that, although there are medications that can prolong things nowadays, which is what happened with me. But mine's gone into complete remission. So that was another step that made things worse actually before it got better. But during that time, and after my father then passed away, and my mom was diagnosed with a glioblastoma,
I
I kind of also turned to a therapist just to kind of help me process some of the traumas and things. And because I just didn't want to fall apart after all of what we've been through and all the success stories and things, I didn't want to start,
I remember
losing.
one morning you showing up to class and you were following your treatment, you were in your recovery path. We started talking and I broke. I was like, she's telling me all of these things. Your dad just had passed away
Mm.
recently, and my dad passed away years ago. And I was like, I was crying on the inside, but I didn't want it to show it to you because you were going through so many things. And I'm like, and you were the one to console us friends. It's like it's okay, it's gonna be okay. But in the end, we were just like, oh, we want to keep you forever. We want to keep you for as long as we can.
Yeah, I want to be here forever. That's what I'm working
But
on.
no, so it makes me cry, like going
Yeah, it's been a lot.
think about the future and your kids. And my dad went through cancer too, so it was hard.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that you're here. And blessed that your presence is with us, and
Thank you.
you are a survivor. But it's just one chapter of your life. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
just one chapter. You overcome you. This is not what defines you, as we were talking about. Sorry.
That's okay. I feel you.
Sorry. Because we have been partying.
We're happy partying. Yeah, we're living life to the
We're
full.
living life to the full.
Absolutely. And that's what
It's
it's about, you know? That's
Yeah.
what it's about. We don't give up.
We don't give up, and especially you. Like your resurface, like here I am. This is the new me, a new version of me
Yeah.
with your
Older, wiser, a few
wiser
physical
than
changes. Yeah, but better for it, you know? Better.
yes.
Everything that we go through, you know, I'm not the only one that goes through hard things. We all go through hard things. But it's how you choose to deal with it. I think that's really does define us. You know, it's we can all just sit and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can take action and move forward.
Exactly. And that's that I would like you to share with your audience, people who are ill or who are going through different times. What can they do to recover, to step up? In maybe some people lost their job, they lost their kids, like different stories. What keeps you coming to show up in your life?
Well, I kind of always believed, even before all this stuff that's happened in the last few years, kind of always believed that we all have a choice. You know, we all have choices in life, and you come to these crossroads all the time, positive things and negative things that happen in our lives, that we have to decide how we deal with it, and we have to make choices. You meet someone, you know, you fall in love, you decide, are you going to stay, or are you going to go? Are you going to be the true version of yourself, or are you going to pretend to be someone else? You know, you're going to go to a job, you're going to really show up for that job, or are you going to just do the bare minimum to get through? Raising your children, are you going to be fully present, or are you going to let someone else take care of it? It's, you know, those are choices we make, and I think it defines, you know, how your life turns out. Facing cancer, are you going to be the victim, or are you going to be the hero of it? You know, are you going to overcome it? um, I think I don't want to be flippant about that, because I think people have their own paths, and
Yeah.
cancer is not an easy thing to deal with. And I was lucky. I do realize that. I was lucky to be here. I was lucky to have my doctor. I was lucky to have the support system around me. Not everyone has that. But I do think there are choices even within that journey that you can make about how you face it. Um, Even if it's just on an emotional level, you know, you can be grateful for what you do have, not, you know, not worry too much about what you don't. And good health is something we have to be grateful for. And even, you know, even in bad health, even if you've got health issues, there are still things that you do have. You might, you know, you might feel really weak, but you've still got your sight, you've still got your voice, you've still got many grateful
Exactly.
things, you know, things to be grateful for. So I think that's important, you know, again, just choosing, do you want to look at the light, or do you want to look at the dark? That's something I've always done. I've always had that's always been kind of my motto in life, is, you know, keep looking for the light in everything. There's always a good thing. There's always a silver lining. There's always someone that can help you. Someone can support you. There's someone to ask, someone to be there with you. Or if you don't have someone immediately, there's yourself. You know, you still have life in you.
That's
Uh,
just wow.
it's true, though. It's true.
That's just
I didn't
perfect.
make that up. You know, I'm not the first person to realize that either.
But you're walking the walk. You're
Yeah,
you're there.
yeah.
You're a witness of life. We should be that.
But life is so incredible and
Yes,
so
life is
beautiful.
amazing.
So beautiful.
And being present, that's what I always tell my
Mm,
yogis. Be present, be
yeah,
here. You're missing out so much stuff when you're not present. It's like
absolutely.
experience
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
Breathe.
yeah.
That your breathing is a gift.
But it's a practice.
It
It's a
is a
practice to do
practice.
that. Even myself. I mean, I live more consciously now than I did before my cancer, and that's why I'm grateful for the journey that I've been on. You know,
Mhm.
and like things like losing my dad as well. He was such a big presence in my life, and now he's gone. but he's not really gone. He's here, he's here with me, and everything he left behind, all the little bits of the tidbits of knowledge and wisdom and things that he shared with all of us, and the silly stories and the jokes and the madness that he was. He was a character. So we have that. We have all his memories and the things that we shared with him. So you just got to hold on to that. You've got to be conscious of that and aware of it and be grateful. I think that's the key thing. Wake up every day and be grateful for what you have, not what you don't have.
Yes, that's what shapes us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of our experiences, and your dad lives in you, and I'm sure
100%.
he's super proud watching over you, just like, yes.
Yeah, I think you would be. I think you would be. And that's again, it's inspiring to
It
have
is
that,
inspiring.
knowing that someone is out there somehow. I don't know, not a religious person, but I have my
Yeah.
my views on that, energy or somehow it transfers or transforms. I have huge connections with birds. I feel that somehow in the birds he's there
Really?
connected, and yeah, there's little messages and things. And again, it sounds a bit out there, but
No, no,
I
no, but
have,
it's true. It's
yeah, I feel
you
there's,
feel the
yeah, and maybe, maybe it's God, maybe it's something
a
else, maybe it's something,
connection
some connection. I don't know. I
in the
don't know how to
universe.
put it, but connection with the universe, with energy, with something that's, I think people don't die. They just transform into energy that comes back and,
And transition
stays
into.
with us. Yeah, stays with us. He's still present for sure. He's still here.
So what's next for you, Inga?
I have a
You're
few
still coming to
projects,
class, right?
still coming to
Yes,
class. She's still
yes.
inspiring me and pushing me hard every time. Yeah, yoga is a huge part of my healing and my journey and physical, recovery actually, and feeling strong. I've just turned 49, so before my 50th, I want to start feeling my best I've ever felt, and that's my goal this year, to really work on that, continue to work on that, because I do feel great. As you know, I feel physically great, actually,
Yes,
considering I'm
I've
still on
seen you.
cancer treatment
I've
every
seen you
day.
on the mat doing all the
Yeah, I feel great.
headstands and all of that. Let's keep practice that Scorpio.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes, we're on a
this
mission.
is we're on a
We have a
mission.
goal. No, but
Yes.
I'm just, grateful to be here, grateful to be able to keep pushing, to keep going forward. I have some personal projects that I'm working on. I may or may not be writing a book. I'm not sure if
Ah,
it's going to be a personal project or if it's going to actually.
I think you should do it. I think you should
I've
go for
started.
it.
I've started.
Because Inga here used to work in copyright and
Yeah, yeah. I was a copywriter and branding and advertising for
branding.
many years. So,
Wow.
but I've never written about myself before. It's always been about
But you write
businesses, and
beautifully
so
and you speak so
oh, thank
eloquently.
you, thank you.
It's so cool.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it takes off or not. I had some funny moments along this journey, and I've had a very rich, colorful life. So I do feel that there's some stuff to share. Not sure if anyone else is interested in it though. So we'll
Yes,
see.
I think
We'll
people need to
see.
hear it.
We'll see. But yeah, I do speak very openly about my cancer journey because I do think there was a lot of positive things that came out of it,
Yes.
and my story is one of hope. And not giving up, and also about not just going in one direction, trying everything. You just push, like you're not a statistic is the thing I always tell people, because I do get a lot of people reaching out to me, a friend of a friend or a cousin or, somebody's uncle that's going through the journey. And sometimes it's the people, the support people around them that contact me because they know that I have a story and I have done a lot. And they want to know how I overcame it all. And sometimes it's the person direct, and that's hard. It's hard hearing other people's stories. And I hope that I can share some knowledge, some wisdom, some inspiration with other people going through similar things, because it's not easy.
It's not easy, but you're here and
Yeah, and it
yes,
can be done.
yes,
Living
it
proof.
can be done. Living proof of this.
Living
Actually,
proof.
they're in the hospital. Did they do a study based on your case?
So there's been a few things that have been very interesting about my case, because as I said, I had a very high tumor load. It was very far gone by the time they diagnosed it, and I was kind of okay. I was feeling fine, except a little tired. And I had, on the immunotherapy, which I started in the beginning, I had it's basically very high dosage of very strong chemicals that they inject. I had a little port put into my chest here.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have very strong effects from that. They get things like pneumonia, hepatitis, because it's basically like putting your immune system on steroids and it starts running around like attacking everything in your body. But with me, I felt fine. I was tired. I had days where I was pretty tired, but I was pretty okay. And so even that was quite rare. Most people get a very strong response. I got a response, but not like a lot of people do. Um, and I do think that that was because I changed my diet so radically.
Okay.
I cut out all sugar, literally all sugar, except for the odd fruit. And I
This
cut
is
out,
so interesting.
yeah, I literally don't have honey. I don't have any kind of sweeteners or anything like that. Nothing processed or ultra processed, I should say. No ultra processed foods. I cut out
Meat.
meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I have started to reintroduce a bit of meat because I'm in full remission, and I like it sometimes, not a lot, but once in a while I'll take a bite of my husband's steak or something like that. But no, I don't go to a restaurant and order a steak. I'll just have a tiny bite, and I make sure that the steak that I'm eating is of very good quality. Here in Switzerland, we're very lucky with the meat that we can get, rather than a lot of the places where supermarket meat, particularly, is just pumped full of hormones and antibiotics and things like that. So I definitely avoid anything like that. I try to buy as much as possible organic. I cut out dairy for, well, yeah, the best part of 3 years. Now I've reintroduced a little bit of fermented cheeses and things like that. And a little bit of yogurt sometimes, again, fermented, those things, because they have a lot of positive effects as well. It's good for the gut microbiome.
Yes.
And
And your skin is super glowy.
my skin I think my skin is healthy, but I also got vitiligo as it's a reaction to the immunotherapy that I had. So I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's a lot better than it used to be, but I have all these white spots all over my skin. It's part of the journey,
Yeah.
part of my story. And but that's also improved, which again is quite rare. It normally gets worse rather than better. So yeah, food wise, I changed my diet a lot, and that made a huge difference to how I felt. So I think that I was able to tolerate the treatments much better than people that don't make those changes. And I
Everything
think
nutritious. You
yes.
research, like
I
you spend
research like
hours, like,
crazy. And again, you weigh up the
yeah.
pros and cons. If somebody's going to say to me, oh, you never have, you're not allowed to have fruit and vegetables, that doesn't sound like common sense to me. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit. There were basically some things that I thought, well, that doesn't resonate with me. And I do think it's important to listen to yourself, to listen to your own instincts about what you can and can't tolerate.
Yeah.
But I'm quite I loved sweet things. I ate a lot of cookies and sweets and chocolates and things before. And I literally, on the day I got diagnosed, that was the last time I've had a cookie or a piece of cake or a sweet or something like that. I make things with dates or with bananas and things like that, but everything is whole wheat. If I have anything wheat, it's, or
Whole
grains.
foods,
Yes,
basically.
real foods,
Real
as we should
foods.
be eating. Think about what our ancestors did.
Yes.
That's basically the baseline of what I do. So, have a little bit of meat once in a while. They didn't have meat on the table every day, or a little bit of chicken or something like that once in a while. It's perfectly acceptable, but basically plant-based. A lot of variety, seasonal, organic, proper food, real food, not something from a plastic bag or a packet or a factory. So
No, 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 no,
yeah,
no,
so
no, no,
that's what
no.
I try to do, and it's been hard. It's not always easy, but
It's not always accessible. When you
it's not
go
always
to a
accessible.
restaurant, it's like, okay, should I eat at home, or they're just gonna have the basic salad, the
Yeah.
green salad.
Well, if you have to have the green salad once in a while, then you have the green salad. If it's a matter of life or death, which in my case I felt it was, it was worth making those
Yes,
sacrifices.
yes.
So at home, it's easier to cook like that now, but it took a lot of changes to me and the way I cooked and prepared my food and
And
things.
discipline
Discipline,
for the
yeah.
kids as
For
well.
the
Like,
kids as well. We've made a lot of simple changes. I think there's a lot you can do with switching, like ordinary white pasta to a whole grain pasta. My kids still have pasta often. They love it. It's their favorite thing. And at first they were like, yeah, it's different, and then they were like, oh, it's still pasta. And they
still
still eat it. And
pasta,
now they love
yes.
it. They don't know, they wouldn't tell the difference. Peanut butter. We eat peanut butter like by the kilo in our household, but we don't get the one that's got the sugar in it. We just get the one that's real nuts.
I often think that when bad things or just like unexpected things happen, it's an opportunity to create new things. For example, creativity. I remember you told me like, okay, I do these beautiful plates of like the rainbow
Yeah,
with every color of the vegetables,
yeah,
of the fruits, and
yeah,
that is so creative. That is so
yeah,
helpful. Like a new ways to reinvent your food,
yeah.
yourself. So when the doctors tell you your diagnosis, you can also do other things, right? You can focus on other things. You have your treatment, but what else?
I took that to heart. I really didn't sit back and go, "Oh well, I'm going to wait to see what the treatment does for me." I just didn't feel that I had the choice to do that. And also, if I was going to go down the wrong way, I didn't want to be lying on my deathbed saying to my family, "Sorry guys, I should have tried something. I should have done this. I should have done that." I wanted to be able to look them in the eye and say, "I did everything I could." So that was really important for me. So we've touched on the fact that I changed my diet drastically. I also did all those other alternative things, and there are many, many options out there that each person can look at for their own individual needs. But it became my full-time job to look after my health, whilst I was doing my treatment. That was important. I took the time. I made it happen, and I think it's important not to give up and not just to do one thing and say, "Oh well, somebody told me this is what's going to cure me." You do everything. You fight as hard as you can. If you want to live, you fight and you don't give up. And there are many things that you can do to support your body during treatment and after treatment. And I think it's important to not dismiss that, because I think they're very, very crucial. The difference between life or death sometimes, again, I'm not going to advocate for people not doing treatments, because I did treatments. I still take treatment every day. So I think that's important to listen to your oncologist and get advice from someone who is much more medically knowledgeable than me. But at the same time, also, they know one thing. They know cancer treatments. They don't know everything. And there are many other ways to tackle this problem. So do your research, do your own research, listen to your own body, and advocate for yourself. If you don't like what your doctor's telling you, find another doctor. I happen to love what my doctor told me, so I stuck with her, and she's been a great support all the way through. But she's also been quite inspired by my journey, I think, and she has listened to a lot of the alternative things that I've tried, and they now have a program running at the University Hospital as well with integrative oncology. Um, and there was also a nutritionist that works alongside the oncology team there. So they are taking these things seriously. It's not just me making it up, and it's not just, I'm not the only one that's done this as well. There are many, many books and stories and things out there that you can research if you're facing something like this, to show the impact of alternative things like, mental health support, diet changes, alternative therapies like acupuncture, Chinese medicine. There's so much out there that you can look at. So just don't give up. There's many ways to tackle this problem.
Right. That's beautiful, and it's so important to know also how to heal from within your body, yourself.
Yeah,
So
foods and chemicals in your products that you use. Basically, I just use avocado oil or coconut oil on my skin. I don't use moisturizers with stuff in it anymore.
avocado oil on your
Yeah,
skin, that's
yeah.
good. That's a good tip.
Coconut oil is my favorite. I actually prefer, because the avocado oil smells a little
But the
avocado-ish.
coconut, yes.
Coconut oil I prefer, and you can add essential oils or something like that if you want, if it's, scent is important. But I don't use perfumes anymore. I don't use in my house as well. I mean, I'm not perfect. There are little bits that slip in here and there, but even things like scented candles and stuff,
Yeah.
just look at what's on the ingredients before you burn them in your home, if not for yourself, do it for your kids or for your family. There's just so much toxic stuff in all of these things. And again, I don't want to sound some sort of hippie perfect person, although I'm sitting here barefoot, but hopefully you can't see that on
We're
camera.
hippies here.
But yeah, I think it's important to just reflect on what you're doing in your life, and be honest with yourself, because we all know what's good and what's bad. But I think sometimes these reminders come along to just make you reevaluate where you're at.
Thank you so much, Inga, for your time here.
My
I love
pleasure.
you. I love you,
I love you
and
too.
I'm so proud of
Thank
you.
you.
You're a big role model for me. And I want to
Thank
look
you.
as healthy, as beautiful, as tall is not possible. Maybe with high
It's going to be a
heels.
challenge. There are many things you can do in life, but
Yes.
growing at this age might be difficult.
But thank you so much for sharing your story,
it's
for
my pleasure.
open up, and we've learned so much from you.
Thank you.
And it's an ongoing journey.
Absolutely.
I'm
We're not done yet.
Yes, I'm so lucky to have you in my life,
Oh.
along with the other friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a beautiful group of friends here that I'm very grateful for.
And you build community. You're a supporter. You're a fighter. You're a badass. You're a rock star.
Thank you. Yeah, lots of things to continue working on, but as I say, ever evolving.
And we're evolving.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for being
Thank you.
on Radiant Living.
Oh,
And
it's a
I'll
pleasure.
see you on the mat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And see you next time on Radiant Living.